Ajuzie and Amaka had once been inseparable, the kind of love that made others envious. They had met on campus, built dreams together, and fought to make them real. When Ajuzie's business started booming after university, marriage was the natural next step. Life was perfect until pregnancy turned their world upside down. Ajuzie and Amaka had waited for this moment, the joy of starting a family. When Amaka first told him she was pregnant, Ajuzie felt an overwhelming sense of happiness. He had built a business from scratch, secured their future, and now their love was about to produce a child. Life was perfect, but perfection was short-lived. Barely 6 weeks into the pregnancy, Amaka started experiencing severe nausea and weakness. At first, they thought it was just morning sickness, but it soon became unbearable. She could hardly keep any food down, and dehydration set in. A visit to the doctor confirmed she had hyperemesis gravidarum, a severe pregnancy condition that caused excessive vomiting and weight loss. She was admitted and placed on IV fluids to prevent complications. The hospital bills started to pile up, 350,000 naira for the first admission. Ajuzie paid without hesitation. His wife's health came first. By the 5th month, Amaka's condition worsened. She developed gestational hypertension, leading to the dangerous high blood pressure levels. The doctor warned them, if it progressed to preeclampsia, both mother and child could be at risk. She was placed on strict bed rest, but even that didn't stop the nightmares. One night, Amaka woke up screaming, clutching her stomach, rushed to the hospital again. An emergency scan revealed that the placenta was partially detaching from the womb. She was bleeding internally. The doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her. Another hospital admission, 800,000 naira gone. Ajuzie was beginning to feel the financial strain, but nothing mattered more than keeping his wife and baby safe. At 7 months, the real crisis began. Amaka's blood pressure spiked dangerously, leading to severe preeclampsia. Her vision blurred, her feet swelled excessively, and she suffered unbearable headaches. We might have to take the baby out early. If we don't, Amaka's life is in danger, said the doctor. How much time do we have? Ajuzie asked, panic setting in. We are monitoring her, but be prepared for an emergency C-section at any moment. Ajuzie increased her medical care, hiring a private nurse to monitor her round the clock. It was another 2 million naira expense on specialist treatment, medications, and additional scans. Then, at 36 weeks, her condition reached a breaking point. She suffered a severe eclampsia seizure, violent convulsions that could have killed her instantly. She was rushed into emergency surgery. The cesarean section was supposed to be routine, just an hour or two, but as they cut through her abdomen, they discovered that the baby had shifted dangerously close to Amaka's chest, due to the placenta issue. The operation became complicated. What should have been a single surgery turned into two. First, they struggled to extract the baby, trapped in an unusual position. They had to widen the incision, which caused excessive bleeding. It took longer than expected. 4 hours instead. When they finally pulled the baby out, there was no cry. For a terrifying moment, the room was silent. The doctors walked quickly, clearing her airways, massaging her tiny body. Then a loud wail filled the room. The baby girl was alive. But Amaka, she had lost too much blood. Her heartbeat was weak. The doctors fought for her life, transfusing blood, administering drugs, trying everything. It was too late. Ajuzie was pacing outside when the doctor walked up to him, his face grim. "We did everything we could." 2 sentences. That was all. The love of his life was gone. The woman he had built dreams with, the one who had shared his joys and struggles, and all he had left was the child he had never met. He barely heard the nurses when they handed him a medical bill of 2.2 million naira. He had already spent close to 10 million throughout the pregnancy and delivery. And for what? His wife was gone. His business was crumbling, and in his arms lay the daughter who had cost him everything. He looked at her with empty eyes. "You evil child," he whispered. The pain was unbearable, and the blame had to go somewhere. He placed it all on the child. What a sad one. What on earth is the new baby's involvement in all that happened? Did she kill her mother? She had to be born. Did Ajuzie overreacted? Let's find out as we continue with this story. Hope you have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share with your loved ones. If you wish to support my channel grow, kindly buy me a super thanks. Thank you. Back to the story. From the moment she was placed in his arms, he saw her not as his daughter, but as the curse that took his wife. His sister Nkechi took on the role of mother, raising the girl with all the love Ajuzie refused to give. Whenever she brought the child near him, he recoiled, his voice laced with venom. "Take this evil thing away from me. She killed my wife. She ruined me." Years passed, but Ajuzie remained unmoved. His business had picked up slightly, but he was nowhere near the man he had once been. Meanwhile, his daughter Chisom grew into a brilliant girl. She excelled in school, winning awards and making a name for herself. But Ajuzie never celebrated her achievements. He never attended her school functions. When she won a full scholarship to study abroad, he finally felt a sense of relief. Finally, she will be far away from me. Evil child. Chisom left, and for years there was silence. Nkechi tried to keep in touch with her niece, but as time passed, Chisom reached out less and less. The pain of being rejected by her own father had left wounds too deep to heal. Ajuzie carried on with his life, bitter and alone. He refused to remarry. He had loved only Amaka, and in his mind, no one else could take her place. His world remained small, just him and his past regrets. One day, news came. Chisom had become an internationally recognized scientist working on groundbreaking medical research. Nkechi, excited, rushed to tell her brother Ajuzie, "Your daughter is making history. She's coming to Nigeria for a conference. You should go see her." But Ajuzie scoffed. "She's not my daughter. She's nothing to me." Evil child. The day of the conference came, and the entire country celebrated her achievements, but she never visited home. She never looked for her father. Years rolled by. Ajuzie aged. His business declined again, and with no wife or children to care for him, he found himself alone in an empty house. His bitterness had won. One evening, he sat outside, staring at the sky, remembering the days when Amaka was alive. His body was weak, his hands shaky. He reached for his phone and dialed a number he had not called in decades. "Hello" was cold, unfamiliar. "Chisom, it's your father." Silence. Then a sigh. "What do you want?" Ajuzie felt his chest tighten. He wanted to say he was sorry. He wanted to say he regretted everything. He wanted to say he had been wrong, but the words refused to form. I just wanted to hear your voice." Another silence. Then, with a steady voice, she responded, "I moved on long time ago. Please, don't call me again." The line went dead. Ajuzie sat there, staring at the phone, his heart sinking. The only child he had left was now a stranger. Years passed, and Ajuzie's life remained empty. He had built walls around himself, shutting out love, joy, and even redemption. His daughter Chisom had become a renowned scientist, but to him, she was still the child who had taken everything from him. But not everyone had given up on their bond. What a pity. Don't you think Ajuzie had gone too far? Or how about Chisom? Is she right to have reacted to her father the way she did? Let's find out as we continue in the story. Nkechi had been the only one who truly loved Chisom as a mother. She had raised her, celebrated her achievements, and tried to shield her from the pain of rejection. But deep down, she knew the girl had always longed for her father's love. As Chisom grew older and more accomplished, Nkechi tried to reason with her. "My dear," she called her one day, "I know your father hurt you. I know he was unfair, but he is an old man now. He has no one. Please, don't let him die alone in regret." Chisom shook her head. "Auntie, he never wanted me. He called me evil, cursed me for my mother's death, and threw me away like trash. Why should I go back to him?" Nkechi sighed. "Because you are better than the pain he caused you. Because forgiveness is not for him, it's for you." For a long time, Chisom resisted, but deep inside, she felt the weight of what her aunt was saying. One evening, After years of silence, Chisom made the decision to return home. She wanted nothing more than closure. If her father could not love her, she would at least try to forgive him before it was too late. She arrived at his house, a house that once held so much promise but now looked abandoned. The paint was peeling, the yard was grown, and there was a silence that felt heavier than death itself. She knocked and knocked. No answer. She knocked again, louder this time. Still silence. Worried, she pushed the door open. The house smelled of dust, loneliness, and then she saw him. Her father sat on an old chair, staring at the wall, frail and weak. His eyes were sunken, his skin pale. He looked like a man who had long given up on life. "Dad?" she whispered. He turned slowly, his eyes taking a moment to focus, and then he saw her, the daughter he had pushed away for so many years. For the first time in his life, tears welled in his eyes. His lips trembled, as if trying to form words he had never spoken. "Chisom, you came?" She swallowed hard. "Yes, Dad, I came." His hands shook as he reached out slightly, as though trying to hold on to something he had lost for too long. But before he could say another, his body went limp. His head tilted to the side, and his breath slowed. "Dad!" she screamed, rushing to his side. But it was too late. Ajuzie had succumbed to the loneliness he had chosen. What a pity. How could a man lock up himself with such hatred and guilt? His own very child he threw away for decades. He never had the opportunity to even give her a hug all his life. What a life filled with regret, sadness, and loneliness. Chisom screamed harder. She had missed him so much. As she screamed again, Nkechi, her aunt, rushed into the compound. "Chisom, are you okay? Chisom! Chisom!" Her aunt rushed into the house and saw her brother lifeless. She looked at her brother lying on his old chair. She turned to Chisom. "Chisom, my dear, please take heart. Please. It's so sad that it happened this way. But one thing is that he saw you before he gave up." She moved to Chisom, hugged her as Chisom wept on her shoulder. "Auntie, this only one time I came, at least for me to tell my father that I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have left him alone to himself. regardless of all that happened between us. And just this visit, just in a few moments, he couldn't even tell me what exactly was on his mind. He just saw me and tried to say what he wanted to. But he succumbed to his loneliness, to his guilt. Ah, what a life. It's okay, my dear. It's okay. It's okay. All will be well. Chisom and her aunt Nkechi left the apartment to Nkechi's place. Her husband and other kinsmen went to Ajuzie's apartment to take his body to the morgue. The burial rite was conducted without a delay because Chisom wouldn't want to travel back and return for the burial. At the funeral, as Chisom stood at her father's grave a week later, she felt an ache in her chest, not just for the father she never truly had, but for the years they had lost. She had wanted closure. She had wanted to hear him say he was sorry. She had wanted to even say she was sorry. She had wanted a hug, at least. But life had taken even that from her. Nkechi placed a hand on her shoulder. You did the right thing coming back home, my dear. Chisom nodded, but the pain remained. Her father had spent his life in bitterness. He had died alone, never experiencing the joy of having a child who loved him. And now, it was too late. Late indeed. What a story. A story of bitterness, regret, and the irreversible consequences of rejection. A story of how grief, when left unchecked, can turn into resentment and destroy the very relationships that could have brought healing. Ultimately, it was a tragic tale of a man who lost everything: his wife, his wealth, and finally his only child, not to death, but to his own unwillingness to love again. Everyone must know that bitterness blinds, but love heals. No matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, we must allow love, because love heals and love covers a multitude of sin. As parents, no matter how painful the past is, do not let grief or resentment push your child away. A child is not responsible for circumstances beyond control. Holding on to bitterness will only lead to loneliness and regrets. Love, even in pain, is what truly heals and rebuilds. This is African Tale by Ewa. Thank you for watching my story. I appreciate your time spent on my channel. I do not take your support for granted. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe, like, comment, and share with your loved ones. Let's hear your views. What do you think about Ajuzie's reaction? How about Chisom? Drop your comments at the comment section below. Thank you. Until I come your way again with another interesting and educating story. Don't forget, if you wish to help me grow my channel, you can as well buy me a super thanks. Thank you. Till I come again your way. Bye for now.